The next talk will be by Peter Grosskopf from solarisBank, with the topic, the role of the bank in a decentralized age.
Thank you. All right, great to be here, competing with the lunch break. I'm pretty happy that you made it here to my short 20 minutes talk, which is a little bit more inspirational. So because it's about the role of a bank in the decentralized world. So first of all, who is working here in a bank or in any traditional company? Anyone? Okay, half. Nobody. So okay, but I do. So I'm Peter. I'm a banker. Actually, I'm a Solaris banker. I started my career as a software developer, founded a software development company, sold it, and joined in 2015 in the founding process of Solaris Bank as the CTO. And what we do, so we are a financial institute that was founded now a little bit more than 2 years ago, and so we founded the bank completely from the scratch. We designed it for the kind of fintech ecosystem that has been growing within the last years. And the idea is to provide a banking platform, so which means services, APIs for opening bank accounts, doing KYC, doing background checks in AML, triggering transactions, covering different legal entities also for the account openings, a MasterCard integration that you can white label your own cards. We offer a scoring service, loans for SME and also natural persons, so all kinds of banking services, but provided as an API, and you integrate it into your startup, into your company, and we stay in the background like AWS does for infrastructure. But we also provide you the banking license, as we are a fully licensed bank. So we got the banking license from the BaFin 2 years ago, and but we can easily passport into any European country, because it's a very easy process. We're 150 employees right now, based in Berlin. I pretty much already described what we do. So we are kind of providing a platform, also integrating with different providers from the financial ecosystem, because we don't believe that we can be good in everything. So we have a couple of partners, for example, for identification services, we use ID Now, and also for e-signing, access to bank accounts. We also have different providers. We used MasterCard as a card scheme, kind of the platform is then used by now 50 plus fintech companies. So now talking about what's actually a bank doing. So some of our board members kind of look at me in a strange way when I present that slide, because it's so as I became a banker and as I didn't learn it or didn't study it. So from developer perspective, this is what a bank does. So from my perspective, there are 4 core use cases of a bank. So I also describe them as user stories. So as a bank, first of all, I should keep the customer's money or assets safe and available 24/7. So this is kind of one of the core functions. The second one is I should enable users to send money from A to B. I'm going to lend money to people, and I'm offering the opportunity to invest into something. So those are the 4 core use cases of a bank, and all supplied by or supported by kind of the trust building factors of having compliance in-house, all the security processes, ISO standards, and of course taking care for AML, so that the kind of the bad boys can't do everything on top of your bank. So at the moment, banking is really at the inflection point that the decentralized technology comes into place, because So if you look back, in the past, so you had banking in branches, so like a fully centralized system. If you look onto our platform that we provide, we are already quite modern in comparison to other banks, but still we are also a centralized entity. And if in the future provided by or supported by decentralized technology, everybody is able to have a bank in its pocket. So it's also in fact also affecting us, and we need to come up with kind of an idea how we can deal with that. And while thinking about that, I was kind of thinking into what is or if I talk to other people who work in the bank. Usually the people tell me like, yeah, so we all have this we have this compliance standards and all this security process, and we're so slow because everything is so over-engineered in the process and so on. And people see compliance and security kind of a little bit as a weakness, but I truly believe that all these compliance functions that a bank incorporates is really a strength, and therefore I truly believe that there's a huge strategic opportunity to use this these structures that you build inside a bank to position yourself as a trustworthy third party in the decentralized world, because as you all know, of course you can decentralize almost everything. But still, there are also centralized instances, for example, oracles needed to some extent, and therefore I believe that the bank can jump into that role and fill the gap there. So so I was presenting these 4 core use cases of a bank, and I mapped them to the decentralized world, and thinking about what services a bank can provide, and starting with with the piece in the middle, so with the wallet. So if it's the job of a bank to keep your assets safe and available 24/7, then the representation in the digital or in the decentralized world is having an offering for wallets, so that users can store their assets and their money there. Going the layer up, there is a layer for security and identity, because as a bank we're allowed to identify persons or natural persons and legal entities in a strong way, and also to store it and to save it, and therefore identification that is made by a bank is really something worth. So we can build services around that. And as you all know, if you register for ICOs and you run through application processes for ICOs, you enter your identity like a couple of times and every time again. And so I believe that if a bank would provide an identification service that I can reuse, that would be a very strong offering. And but also, so as I was talking about the compliance structures and the security structures, I believe that a bank should be offering, for example, a solution for storing backup keys. Because if it's the role of a bank to keep your your money and your assets available, which is the job of a bank, then in the decentralized world, when you have an accident at skiing and you hit at your head and you don't remember where you stored your private key, it would be pretty beneficial if a bank would provide kind of the backup key and provide security services around it to recover it. So kind of to give a call to the bank, then they send you a fax or SMS, have like a multi-factor authentication system that I can access to my backup key. Then moving again one layer up, when it's about lending and investing opportunities. So this will all be or can be covered with smart contracts, as we know. So we had like 2 talks before mine the presenter was talking about salt lending. This is kind of one of the first projects in the lending space. Yeah, also many examples when you dive into smart contracts. They give like an example of a consumer loan that's very easy to implement on the blockchain. So I believe that this can be covered on the blockchain like this. But also investing into ICOs, tokenized assets. So yeah, I really believe that any investment opportunity will be covered with smart contracts in the future. And going the layers down. So it's the role or it's the job of a bank to give the user the ability to move money from A to B. So what does it mean in the blockchain space? So I think if this is the job of the bank, then a bank should consider to do mining, because validating transactions and enabling users to make a transaction also in a decentralized system. So I believe that a bank should do that. Then you should invest, for example, into proof of stake mining or into other blockchain technology. And then the fourth or the fifth and last layer that I see is the infrastructure layer. I was talking about the security processes and the backup key solution and so on. I think that a bank is the perfect place to offer custodial services. So to make sure that your private keys, that your investments are safe, that they're kind of stored offline in the cold storage, kind of supported by all the security processes that a bank can provide. So what's the conclusion? So I really believe that so banks won't die in the future. I hope you feel the same. But banks need to change, and banks need to rethink what their strengths are and use the strengths also in the decentralized environment and change the service offering. And from my point of view, also as being co-founder of a platform bank, I believe that a bank should really focus on providing infrastructure and the tools, and that will be then also the kind of the trail into the decentralized world, and really making sure that so we can have a great future. Thanks.
Any questions? Further questions? We have around 1 minute, right?
That's not too much time, but maybe one. Could you go back to the slides where you basically unbundled the whole? Yes,
this one.
Exactly that one. So, what would you say, looking at these decentralized banking models there, which are the areas where banks will accrue the most value from? Because what we see now in the current financial systems, they got all these different revenue streams, but a lot of it is based on monopolized gains and basically regulatory entry barriers for many players. And once these are resolved and the whole thing becomes more open, I would just try to understand which of these areas are the top 2 or top 3 for banks to create value.
I think that at the moment, so as you were saying, the banking part is kind of monopolized because not everybody can do it, yeah. But I think it's very important to really change the way of thinking. So I think many banks are not really earning a lot of money with the business models that they have today, because kind of it's not working anymore, and so the behavior of the customer changed, and so I think that if you start a company today, so you would think of the problem of the user that you can solve, and then provide a service, and then if you solve a problem, then the user would also pay money for that. And I think, for example, if you go into custodial services, so you have all these these security infrastructures, and you pay a lot of money to maintain them. So why not use it to do something that provides a value? And for example, looking into the European market, there are not many custodial solutions for crypto, and I think this is really an open field, and you can do really cool stuff there.
Yeah, and what I also want to say is just thank you. I've seen many talks given by bankers on these topics, and I think this is by far like 10x the most progressive one. And yeah, thanks for providing these insights. That I think, from my point of view, is one of the clearest paths to go for banks to enjoy.
Thanks.
Thank you, Peter.